Sure, James Pollaci with NetJets. I'm here at Roebling Road Raceway with the SVRA Drivers School, learning how to drive a race car for the first time myself.
All right, well, James, welcome to Time with Tony. We've been having world famous drivers on each week to kind of hear their story, and here we are calling you, and I think your driving history is a little short of, Al Unser Jr., Willie T. Ribbs, Wally Dallenbach, Davy Jones, because to my knowledge, the extent of your driving school is our school in Savannah, and you rented a Miata, but you do officially have an SVRA license. Tell me about that journey. Did you have fun?
Tony, I had a blast, and I understand why people are driving all over the country to do this. You're correct. It was Roebling Road. It was my first time. I did pass. Let's start there. I'm not yet on an Unser level or a Riggs level, but I did pass the class. I had a blast in the Miata, and I learned a lot. I mean, it's incredible. You've got a smile on the entire weekend, and you understand why people literally look forward to every single SVRA event.
Well, thanks for joining me today. Really what today's about is, there's so much uncertainty in our environment today with COVID-19. People are afraid to get on airplanes. People are afraid to fly commercial. I think people are trying to figure out what normal is in this environment. And, NetJets and SVRA have partnered together for several years, and private aircraft, and especially with NetJets, has changed so dramatically. I think as a result of COVID-19, I thought it'd be important to get a video out that I could send out to our members, because I think if they're even considering flying private, it's probably never going to be a better time to do it. So this video is really for them, the folks who have considered flying private, possibly fly private with someone else. There's so many cool programs. So let's start with what has NetJets done that's different than your normal procedure to ensure that flying with you is frankly safer than a center seat on a commercial airline. I'll word it that way. I won't mention any of the commercial airlines.
Sure. And in all fairness to them, I appreciate it as well. We have always led the industry in safety. That's our hallmark, and that's our corporate culture. To provide the safest option to our clients. And right now that really does extend to our COVID precautions. One of the things that we all are aware of is that it's exposure, right? We're trying to limit our exposure to other people. So naturally there's an inherent benefit to flying privately. First of all, you're choosing the people who go on the flight with you, right? Instead of 250 strangers who you can't do a fair contact trace beforehand, you're limited to only the people who you choose to bring on the flight. Number two, the inside of our cabins, they refresh every 2 to 4 minutes. So you're getting fresh air and you're limiting your exposure there. Now, on the COVID precaution side, first of all, we're screening our employees, right? We're working with companies like Cellex and Quest Diagnostics to test people, to make sure that we put you in front of healthy people. Number two, we're social distancing, both in our contact when they meet you in the private terminal or aboard the flight. They're keeping their distance, and they're also using face masks to prevent any kind of transmission or spread right there. Number three, we're using products like Clear Cabin that go on and can disinfect and to clean the cabin correctly to make sure that what happened moments ago doesn't affect us moving forward, that we can kill the viruses and the bacteria and the different things that we don't want to be exposed to right now, right? So when you add all these different pieces together, and quite honestly, there's not enough time for you and I to go over all the different pieces that we're putting together. Safety has been our hallmark, and in this COVID world, that's part of it, and we're going to lead the industry there as well.
Tell me, I've heard some back channel stuff that NetJets took a lead role in acquiring safety gear for frontline workers. Tell me about that.
When this all went out, we all knew that there were shortages of some of these personal protection equipments. And we partnered with clients who became aware of supplies over in China. We loaded up we sent over some Global 6000s, the big airplane that can go nonstop over to Europe and Asia and whatnot. And we picked up these supplies that were much needed in the New York area and around the country. In fact, we ended up doubling up and going back again when we found availability that was there. So we want to be part of the answer. We want to be part of the solution. And I tip my hat to my colleagues, on our executive leadership committee that find these opportunities and put us in the place where we can truly contribute whenever possible.
All right. Now, there's some pretty significant changes for SVRA members to, frankly, get involved with NetJets and kind of almost try it before you buy it. There's several ways that people can fly through you, but why don't you spend a few minutes with that? In the history of I don't ever remember us having a demo flight capability. I'd like to know about that. I know the CARES Act has changed the economics of flying private.
You've got it. I'm happy to. So first of all, as part of the CARES Act, the government is waiving the 7.5% federal excise tax. So right off the bat, if you knew you could do this and you'd save 7.5%, you'd probably be pretty happy. Now that applies to the jet card that people are purchasing, and it also applies to the demo rate. So on that aspect, we are for the first time, and we sent an email out, and the response has been great. So thank you to all those people who've reached out and are setting up flights to give us a try, right? That first toe in the water. I know they're going to like it. We're giving people the ability to book a flight or a round trip with no long-term commitment at an incredible rate. So that's number one. Number two, they're going to save the 7.5% federal excise tax as part of the government. Number three, they're also going to save on fuel. As we know, fuel's a lot lower, right? We can't go racing. We can't drive our cars. Sometimes we can't even cross state lines. So fuel is dropped, and they're going to lock in those fuel savings as well. Now, on the next step up, the 25-hour jet card, for those people who have a defined need who want to use 25 hours over the next 24 months, remember, you do get 2 years to use those hours, and they renew into any other program you join in the future. You're going to save the 7.5%. You're also going to lock in the low cost of fuel. One interesting aspect about our jet cards, about NetJets, you're actually buying into a program with us. We're not simply putting your money into an account. And because of that, if you buy the card this year, you're going to lock in that federal excise tax savings even if you fly next year. And that's a big differentiator because you actually are buying into a program with us. Now that last piece that you talked about, I truly can tell you in the 17 years I've been with NetJets, it is probably the biggest piece of news that I've had to offer, and the biggest savings, I would say almost revolutionary, if you will. So for those people who are doing 50 hours or more per year, we're rewarding the total flight time they use on any calendar day. So the direct operating cost at NetJets when you own a share is called the occupied hourly fee. Let's say it ranges from $2,300 an hour up to a little over $4,000 an hour, whether you're going from a light jet up to a large cabin like that Global 6000 that went back and forth to China. So if they're doing over 2.5 to 3.5 hours or 3.4 hours, they're going to save 20% off that rate. If they're doing 3.5 to 4.4 hours, they're going to save 30%. And if they do 4.5 hours or more, they're going to save 40% off of that occupied hourly fee. Now, an area where we can make it better, where we align their goals with our goals, if they start the day and they end the day in one of our 14 busiest airports, like Dallas, Westchester in New York, Teterboro in New York, Dulles, Boston, West Palm, Van Nuys, Las Vegas, Scottsdale, etc. If they both start the day there and end the calendar day at one of those places, we're going to double that discount, Tony. So you're talking about a flight 4.5 hours from New York to Van Nuys where you're getting 80% off of that occupied hourly fee. So it's incredible. We're excited about it, and I really think it changes the economics for a lot of these people who've called in the past and said, listen, what if I do this? I want to stop at 3 destinations during the day, right? Or I'm going out and I'm coming back. Do I get a discount for that? The discount now is incredible.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time with me today. I value our partnership. You've brought private aircraft to so many SVRA members. Let's get you back in a race car. We've got to keep that race career going, not just have you selling airplanes. We got to keep you on the racetrack. But thanks for taking the time with me today, James. I really appreciate it.
Real, Tony. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We're delighted to be a partner, and my best wishes to the whole SVRA family out there. If you noticed, I have the NetJets helmet ready to go.
Sounds like a plan.